and welcome to NAFDAC and Your Health. Every week on the program, we provide you with insightful information about NAFDAC's activities aimed at protecting the health of Nigerians. I am your host, Tosin Adebayo. Misuse and abuse of drugs is a critical problem faced in Nigeria. This menace has affected not only the young generation, but also the older generation in Nigeria. According to the 2018 report from the United Nations Office of Drug and Crime, UNODC, about 14.3 million Nigerians aged between 15 and 64 engage in drug abuse practice. With this statistic and the phase at which the level of misuse and abuse of drug is increasing in the country, NAFDAC has made the curbing of this menace one of its top priorities. Today on the program, we take a look at the activities of the agency in tackling the menace of drug abuse in the country.
Why curbing drug abuse is so important? Because drug kills. Any drug can kill, depending on how well you use it, if you misuse it. But when you abuse drug, you get addicted. Some narcotics, I'm talking of narcotics now. This is a huge problem in Nigeria. I never realized that until I took this job. Now, we have heightened up our vigilance. We are seizing more tramadol now. The thing about it is that they bring tramadol, maybe 7/8 of a container, and add regulated products or registered products, so which is under our mandate. So we end up also seizing the container containing tramadol and unregistered products. The future Nobel laureates of Nigeria will never attain to that status once they are addicted. The future presidents of Nigeria will never amount to that when they are on drugs. It is the destruction on the society. Why is this so important? Because of our own national security. But it starts from the family to the entire communities. When I came, I fostered a relationship that few months earlier, I started with Young Pharmacists Group of Nigeria. And what we then did was to start NAFDAC's drug abuse awareness campaign. So NAFDAC is not just writing regulations and citing people or sanctioning people. We are getting into the community. Anytime I see young people, do not abuse drug, because hopelessness is written all over. Death is one of them. Nigeria cannot be greater than its youth. It doesn't matter if we do vigil from now till eternity. No. So it is multi-sectoral issue. It's not just NAFDAC issue. It is education, it is joblessness and whatnot, and So, but we are fighting the menace of drug abuse.
NAFDAC, in its quest to end the indiscriminate use of controlled medicines and narcotics, unveiled the 2021 International Narcotics Control Board Annual Report and Precursors in Lagos. The event had in attendance a representative from the United Nations Office of Drug and Crime, the Ministry of Health, as well as other stakeholders in the health sector.
Narcotics and psychotropic substances are indispensable for relief of pain and suffering. Controlled medicines possess abuse ability and produce dependence in users and are classified based on medical utility and potential for abuse. In 1961, the Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs was endorsed by the United Nations member states to ensure access to analgesics intended to relieve pain and suffering, while making adequate provisions to prevent diversion and abuse. The Convention on Psychotropic Substances of 1971 and the United Nations Convention against illicit trafficking on narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances of 1988 were adopted to deal with the world drug problem. The 3 international drug control conventions enjoy near universal adherence, and governments reiterated commitment to their implementation at the 2016 special session of the United Nations General Assembly and in the 2019 Ministerial Declaration of the Commission on Narcotics Drugs. In recent past, conditions related to the COVID-19 pandemic have disrupted global supply chain mechanisms, impeding availability of essential medicines. In the same vein, these same factors also increase economic deprivation and feelings of social isolation, which are factors that can contribute to increased drug abuse. Although controlled medicines are indispensable in the treatment of pain and are central to achieving universal health coverage, they can be used in ways that are not appropriate and cause dependence. According to the 1918 National Drug Use Survey, the prevalence of any drug use was 14.4%, or 14.3 million people between the age of 15 and 64 years abusing drugs. That's quite scary. This is comparatively high compared with the 2016 global annual prevalence of 5.6% among adult population. The challenges arising from drug supply and consumption are not restricted to people who use drugs, but have wider health, social, and economic consequences on the family, community, and country. Expectedly, the Nigerian government, with support from the EU and UNODC, developed its 4th National Drug Control Master Plan for the period of 2021 to 2025. The National Drug Control Master Plan, which is spearheaded by the NDLEA, is the outcome of 2 years of coordinated, collaborative, and multi-agency effort comprising experts from all the relevant ministries, departments, and agencies, as well as civil society organizations.
In the area of monitoring and capacity building, the Ministry of Health reeled out the achievements.
Over 1,500 care practitioners have been trained in the provision of evidence-based drug treatment services. In addition, the ministry monitors the regular collection, collation, and analysis of drug treatment data to determine drug use trends that can influence programs and policy interventions. As a further bold step in the fight against the menace of illicit drug use in Nigeria, the Narcotics and Drug Abuse Program in the ministry was upgraded to a full-fledged division in the Department of Food and Drugs Services to coordinate activities for curbing the rising menace of drug abuse, including the non-medical use of opioid pharmaceuticals among the adult population in the country. The division is also responsible for promoting the sustained availability, rational use of controlled medicines while preventing diversion to illicit use. The Federal Ministry of Health has also developed national guidelines for the treatment of substance use disorders, which was launched on the 21st of June, 2021. The guideline presents an all-inclusive evidence-based document for the treatment of substance use disorders in line with national best practices. Ladies and gentlemen, the Federal Ministry of Health is collaborating with other stakeholders. In collaboration with other stakeholders, we continue to strive to ensure that Nigerians who are in need of essential pain and medication have access to timely and rational care, in addition to providing qualitative treatment for persons with drug problems, and also facilitating their rehabilitation and reintegration into the larger society.
Present at the event was the representative of the United Nations Office of Drug and Crime, UNODC, addressing the illicit financial flows and the link between this, child trafficking, and youth unrest. He had this to say.
The 2021 annual report takes a detailed view at illicit financial flows related to drug trafficking and funds far-reaching negative impacts on society, from corruption and bribery to increased organized crime, violence, poverty, and inequality. And IMCB considered illicit financial flows worthy of special attention because drug trafficking is a highly lucrative industry for organized criminal groups. And these groups rely on illicit financial flows to expand and sustain their criminal activities. So data also show that countries with a high level of drug trafficking also experience high level of instability, violence, and crime. To counter the negative effects and human costs, INCB calls on the government to address all stages of trafficking, from production and cultivation to sale and consumption of illicit profits. Illicit financial flows generated from drug trafficking also divert resources away from initiatives needed to reduce poverty and promote socio-economic development, thus in turn weakens good governance and worsens the inequality. So, IMCB calls on the government to address organized crime collectively, share intelligence at the international level. And we said that as illicit financial flows, no border or no nationality, but the collective action is required.
We'll take a short break now. Stay with us.
Beware. Fake or damaged drugs have put many people in serious health harms and have killed many others. But you can protect yourself by seeking professional healthcare advice when you feel unwell. Buy drugs from only licensed pharmaceutical outlets and make sure you check the packaging for poor condition, spelling errors, and unclear labelings. Also, check NAFDAC registration number, batch number, the expiry date, manufacture date, and manufacturer's address before paying, and always collect a receipt. If you suspect a drug to be fake or damaged, report immediately to NAFDAC on 0800-162-3322 or send an email to sf.alert@nafdac.gov.ng. Protect yourself and your loved ones. This message is brought to you by NAFDAC with support from WHO.
Welcome back. The fight against the movement and indiscriminate use of controlled medicines and narcotics is a continuous one. Relevant stakeholders and sister security agencies talk about how they are winning the war.
There's an ongoing war waged around the globe in the area of substance use. And to ignore that war is to lose it up front. This war is intensified the war is intensified on a daily basis by introduction of new drugs and new strategies, including diversion of controlled drugs and precursors. by agents of destruction who have a crooked mindset that they are gaining material wealth to the detriment of the individual user and by extension the nation at large. NDLEA is a major stakeholder in this work, and NAFDAC is a major collaborator.
On our own part, I think on several occasions we've been able to, either because of our way of enforcing the policies of government, to, let's say, catch now the small those who want to bring some either through the ports or through the borders, and we have always ensured that we pass it on to the relevant authorities. We do that oftentimes in NDLEA. We know that our reports, if you don't give the go-ahead, also consignments of government coming. That is why the government has been able to streamline the ports through which anything has to do with NAFDAC coming, like Papa, even without water, but for instance, they bring them because they are not there. And they does not bring it, you have to refer to Area 1. I think there will always be this incident. And we know that drug has been something that Nigeria, I think for now, is a big problem, a huge problem all over the federation, that our youths are getting it. And with this launch, when we came in, I know it's all about communities, about evidence to come listen to. We pray that every agency presented here, synergizing with one another, be able to reduce much to various people.
Other stakeholders present spoke on ways they think the menace can be curbed, while appreciating NAFDAC for organizing the event.
There is need to intensify the efforts, considering the fact that we are close to the grassroots and drug-dependent persons, and our rules are crucial, as spelled out at the Drug Control National Master Plan. And based on our years of experience and findings, for instance, the issue of tramadol, which is a controlled drug, is not as if tramadol are not used or recommended or prescribed by doctors and pharmacists. The point here is the abuse of it, like the person medicine dealers and all this. And when you go to their shop, you will not get those drugs because they have a way of giving it out. They have hiding places they keep it when you go to their. So there is need for the agency as a regulatory body to commit a lot of funds in SPA. And we as NGOs that can serve as a tool or as instruments in reporting back to the agency based on our findings and discovery that can serve as an implementation policies in an effort to achieve effective results.
The menace of drugs is across borders. They are actually threats beyond borders. And it is one issue that cannot be effectively addressed if it is not collectively addressed. And we are all stakeholders. So those of us that need to prevail on the National Assembly to come up with such laws will have to also use their own powers, lend their own voice to the issue. Because the fundamental thing is that in Nigeria, we think drugs are like any other article of commerce. You can't walk into the market to buy drugs, for instance. But the law is there. Markets are illegal entities. But we've not even been able to close down the illegal market up to today. The national guidelines on the National Drug Distribution Guidelines that were developed in 2012, up to today they have not been effectively implemented. So there is this provision to have the coordinated wholesale centers to replace the existing drug markets. But the speed at which we are going is so slow, and we are seeing the impact of this haphazard and chaotic distribution of especially the drug substances of abuse. One other aspect that we also pointed out in the Pasida report was for the National Assembly enact the Narcotics and Psychotropic Substances Act, so that for drugs that are internationally controlled, we can also domesticate that. And then whatever we nationally or domestically control, we can also have it as a scale to that act. And then the penalties was this clearly spelled out. And like the report tried to show, the punishment must fit the crime. Because you can't have people that are bad drugs that are putting people's life on the line. And then when they are convicted, they are just given a part of the risk. It's not going to happen. The punishment must be deterrent enough. And these are issues that as stakeholders we need to take up at our own levels.
Finally, the director for Narcotics thanked the participants and had this to say as parting words.
We really appreciate you and thank you for coming for the launch of the 2021 report, International Narcotics Control Board, and the precursor report 2021. You know, like we always said, and we want to remind you that, you know, the issues in the control of narcotics and psychotropic substances are dynamic. They are evolving. And the challenges most times are associated with crime. And the current report gives a situation report for the year 2021 with regards to the trend and the patterns that are already established. And the report also has provided some recommendations which, if effectively implemented, should be able to address the drug problem nationally and, of course, internationally.
That's all we have time for on the program this week. Make it a date for another insightful edition next week, same time, same station. In the meantime, if you have comments, complaints, or you want to report activities of fake drugs or adulterated food products peddlers, our doors are always open. You can reach NAFDAC via toll-free numbers. For inquiries, call 0700 162 3322. For complaints, call 0800 162 3322. You may also email NAFDAC at nafdac.gov.ng. If you have complaints about any form of misconduct, you can reach the Reforms Unit via email, reforms@nafdac.gov.ng, or call the Reforms hotlines on 0909 763 0506 or 0909 763 0507. NAFDAC, customer focused, agency minded. Importing, producing, distributing, and selling fake drugs and cosmetics, adulterated food, and so on are criminal activities that destroy lives. Join the fight against these heinous crimes by reporting any suspicious activity in your area to NAFDAC. Let's join hands to safeguard the health of our nation. See you next week. Stay safe.